Imagine a world where childhood rarely existed and survival was a daily gamble with death. No hospitals, no medicine, no safety nets, just raw life and relentless struggle against impossible odds. Our modern comforts, from climate-controlled homes to abundant food, make this reality almost completely unimaginable. Yet just a few million years ago, humans and their relatives inhabited dangerous landscapes. These ancient landscapes were dominated by danger, disease, and terrifying predators hunting around the clock. Among these early hominids, one species endured a life so brutally unforgiving that tragedy was. Few individuals ever reached adolescence, with most dying in infancy or early childhood from threats. Homo habilis, small and fragile, navigated forests and savannas teeming with giant cats and dangers. Venomous insects and starvation constantly threatened their existence in these unforgiving ancient African environments daily. Today we uncover how this species lived, hunted, and died in brutal prehistoric conditions. We reveal the unimaginable hardships that shaped the evolution of humanity over millions of years. Prepare to step into a world where survival was the ultimate and often impossible challenge. Life expectancy and vulnerability. To understand the horror of early human life, we must first grasp the scale. We must understand the shocking scale of mortality that defined existence for our ancient ancestors. While modern humans enjoy life expectancies averaging 73 years, ancient relatives fared far worse consistently. In 18th century France, people often died around 30, while classical Greece saw only 25. Even the Neolithic period barely reached 20 years, and these numbers pale against reality. These statistics pale dramatically against the harsh reality faced by early hominids living 2 million ago. Homo habilis, living roughly 2 million years ago, rarely survived past 12 years of age. Evidence from fossilized remains suggests infant mortality was even higher than the numbers currently indicate. This paints a grim picture of survival, where death claimed most before they could reproduce. From birth, the odds stacked against them, with starvation, predation, disease, and environmental hazards everywhere. All these threats contributed to shocking attrition rates that would horrify any modern human observer. Physically, they were ill-equipped for this world, standing only about 1.2 meters tall. Weighing a fraction of modern humans, their vulnerability was constant and impossible to escape completely. Their small, lightly built frames offered little defense against predators or the harsh African environment. Fragile bones increased the risk of fatal injury from falls, attacks, or simple accidents daily. Despite these limitations, Homo habilis evolved semi-arboreal traits to navigate treetops, hoping to escape threats. Climbing offered temporary refuge, but brought new hazards, including falls and encounters with arboreal predators. Even the most mundane daily activities could prove deadly, turning simple survival into gambles. Every moment was a high-stakes gamble where one wrong decision meant death for individuals. The smallest mistake could end a life, leaving no chance for learning or future generations. Diet and dangerous foraging. For Homo habilis, survival meant constant scavenging, hunting, and risk in every meal they sought. Their diet was surprisingly carnivorous, featuring large amounts of meat alongside fruits and various vegetables. Specialized teeth, including powerful incisors and robust jaws, allowed them to tear flesh efficiently. Yet acquiring meat came at a tremendous cost that often proved fatal to individuals. They often approached carcasses abandoned by larger predators, facing competition from lions, hyenas, and cats. Even small predators like jackals could pose a serious threat, especially to young individuals. Young or sick individuals were particularly vulnerable to attacks from opportunistic scavengers and smaller carnivores. Fish hunting, too, required venturing dangerously close to water, exposing them to crocodiles and snakes. Other ambush predators lurked near water sources waiting for vulnerable prey to come close enough. Scavenging was an inherently high-risk strategy, but scarcity left little choice for survival daily. Foodborne illnesses from rotting meat or parasite-infested fish further weakened these already fragile human ancestors. Diseases that modern medicine now controls, like malaria, sleeping sickness, and waterborne infections, claimed lives. These diseases claimed countless lives, wiping out entire family groups in single deadly outbreaks. Intestinal parasites drained nutrients, compounding the lethal effects of injury and malnutrition in individuals. Even arboreal life carried disease risks from contact with bats, rodents, and other disease carriers. Contact with various animals spread pathogens invisible to the naked eye throughout populations rapidly. Each meal, each climb, each decision was a potential death sentence in unforgiving environments. This was a world without intervention, where mistakes were permanent and recovery was rare. Hidden threats, parasites, disease, and injuries. Beyond predators and food scarcity, Homo habilis battled hidden enemies like microscopic parasites constantly. These microscopic parasites and infections killed silently, without warning or visible symptoms at first. Living near water exposed them to mosquito-borne diseases like malaria, a deadly persistent threat. Malaria was a deadly threat for an unprotected species without immunity or medical treatment. Tsetse flies transmitted sleeping sickness, causing lethargy, weakness, and often death within weeks or months. Their own dietary habits compounded these dangers, with raw meat carrying salmonella, botulism, and worms. Raw meat carried dangerous pathogens, including salmonella, botulism, and intestinal worms that killed slowly. Fossilized bones reveal untreated fractures, abscesses, and bone infections, demonstrating fatal consequences of injuries. These findings demonstrate the fatal consequences of even minor injuries in the ancient world. Contaminated water sources facilitated the spread of dysentery, a silent killer, striking indiscriminately across populations. Parasites like hookworms sapped energy and hindered growth, making juveniles especially vulnerable to predators. Even seemingly safe arboreal habits introduced zoonotic diseases transmitted by animals in close proximity. Without antibiotics, vaccines, or sanitation, illness could spread unchecked, creating constant vulnerability for everyone. These illnesses created a constant state of vulnerability where communities could be decimated overnight. Every day, these hidden threats silently dictated who lived, who died, and who survived. These threats determined who would leave descendants and who would vanish without trace forever. Homo habilis existed in a delicate balance, constantly teetering between survival and complete extinction. Predation, the fearsome hunters. Physical vulnerability was amplified by a terrifying predator landscape filled with efficient, deadly hunters. Over 30 large carnivores shared their habitats, each with unique hunting strategies and adaptations. Among the most formidable was the Megantereon, a stocky saber-toothed cat with crushing strength. Armed with curved claws and serrated teeth, it could instantly incapacitate even strongest individuals. It could incapacitate even the strongest Homo habilis with a single devastating bite. Fossil evidence shows puncture marks on skulls indicating attacks from the front or escape. These marks indicate attacks from the front, where victims' heads were crushed or bitten. These predators often altered the very behavior and evolution of early humans over time. They shaped vigilance, social structures, and tool use, forcing innovation or death on populations. Other predators, like the Dinophelus, were equally merciless, leaving no opportunity for error or mistakes. Homo habilis lived under constant threat, relying on agility, stealth, and luck to survive daily. No habitat offered complete safety, as open savannas, rivers, and even trees were dangerous. Open savannas, rivers, and even trees were fraught with danger from different predator species. Predation pressures combined with environmental hazards and disease created an existence that was fragile. This existence was both fragile and fleeting, with death lurking around every corner constantly. In this crucible, every individual faced the relentless reality that death was never far. Death was never far behind, waiting for the smallest mistake or moment of weakness. Daily survival. Life for Homo habilis was a series of calculated risks and moments of tension. Each morning demanded foraging for food, identifying water sources, and avoiding predators throughout the day. Scouting for meat or fish required coordination, communication, and constant awareness of the surroundings. Their small stature limited physical confrontation, forcing reliance on speed, evasion, and opportunistic feeding strategies. Even within group survival was precarious, as juveniles were particularly vulnerable to predators constantly. Juveniles were particularly vulnerable to predators and disease, often dying before reaching maturity or reproduction. Tool use while advancing was rudimentary, offering limited protection and hunting efficiency compared to predators. Fires, shelters, and communal strategies slowly evolved, yet every night brought exposure to elements. Every night still brought exposure to harsh elements and nocturnal predators hunting in darkness. Social bonds were crucial for survival, as isolation often meant death from exposure quickly. Isolation often meant death from exposure, starvation, or attack by opportunistic predators hunting alone. Their existence was a delicate choreography of observation, strategy, and instinct honed by evolution. Every successful day reinforced evolutionary pressures, driving adaptations in intelligence, coordination, and resilience over generations. Despite the hardships, Homo habilis persisted, leaving traces that allow us to reconstruct their lives. These traces allow us to reconstruct the brutality they endured on a daily basis. Their struggles shaped human evolution, creating the foundation for everything that came after them. Homo habilis reminds us that survival is neither guaranteed nor easy, even for ancestors. Their lives, shaped by predation, disease, and environmental dangers, were a testament to resilience. They showed resilience against overwhelming odds that would crush most modern humans instantly today. Though most never reached adolescence, their struggles paved the evolutionary path to modern humanity. Looking back, we gain perspective on the comforts of today, realizing every innovation matters. We realize that every innovation, every discovery, is built upon the courage of survivors. These innovations are built on the courage of those who endured unimaginable hardship daily. Their legacy lives on in us, a reminder of the fragility and strength of life.